Yo guys, welcome back to the channel. I am the Flamehead97, and here today, I'm here for a best albums of list video, and I put together a poll on my community tab on my YouTube channel here on YouTube, and I chose 3 different years. I chose 2011, 2013, and 2014, and I said the year that got the most votes would be the winner. So the winner of the poll was the year 2011. But before I start with this video, I'm just going to say this now. I'm going to have to do a whole nother video for best albums of 2011. So this will be a 2-part video. Just to get that clear to you guys, because there was shit tons of good albums in 2011 and I just can't do it all in one video. So at a later time, I'll get the other video and audio made and put together and all that, and eventually get it re-uploaded. But for now, let's go and get started with this one. So kicking off this list is going to be 21 by Adele. This is a really good album from Adele. Probably her best album, in my opinion. I mean, Adele's a good singer. I would say she's one of the best female singers of this generation. But I think 21 is probably her best album, at least in my opinion. You got a lot of good songs, like Rumor Has It was a pretty good song. Someone Like You, which was a ballad, definitely an amazing song. Rolling in the Deep was a great song on this album as well. Set Fire to the Rain. There's so many good songs on this album. So yeah, 21 by Adele, definitely an amazing album and one of her best. So definitely makes the list. Good stuff here from Adele. Definitely a really good album. Continuing on is going to be Until We Have Faces by Red. So this is a really good Red album. I think it's pretty underrated in their discography. It does have Feed the Machine on it, which was like one of their heaviest songs that they ever made. Just a really good album opener. The song, I think they have a song on there called Faceless. That was a good one. Hymn for the Missing, the album's closing track. I love that song. It's actually one of my favorite Red ballads, if not my favorite ballad from them. Just an amazing closing track of this album. So, yeah, Until We Have Faces by Red. This album is definitely really, really good and underrated. So, I would definitely check it out, guys, if you guys like Christian rock and anything of that nature. So, Until We Have Faces by Red. Definitely a good album here. So, continuing on with the list is going to be Beast by Devil Driver. Now, this album is good. I don't know if I would say it's one of their best, but it still is a good album. Yeah, it's songs like Bring the Fight or whatever that song was called. I don't remember the song name by heart, but I first heard it on the video game Sleeping Dogs. That's how I discovered Devil Driver, or at least one of the ways, you know. But yeah, that song was a good one. Grand Fucked or whatever that song was called, I think that was on this one. I don't remember. I'm bad at remembering albums and songs from certain bands and shit. But yeah, this album by Devil Driver, it had some good songs on it, and I do apologize for not remembering much about it. But either way, I'm still going to include it on here because there is some songs that I did like on it. I just don't remember their names right now because it's been a while since I listened to this band, if I'm being honest. Next is going to be Who You Are by Jessie J. I don't know many songs off of this album besides Price Tag with rapper B.O.B. and then the song Domino, which was on the Platinum edition of Who We Are by Jessie J. Those were like the only 2 songs that I know from this era, if I'm being honest. But I still wanted to put it on there because those 2 songs are really good. So next up on the list is going to be Goodbye Lullaby by Avril Lavigne. This is a really good album from Avril Lavigne. I know it's where she went more pop compared to her first 3 albums, but this is still a good album from Avril Lavigne nonetheless, and I would say it's her most underrated album. They got a lot of good songs on here like What the Hell, Push, Wish You Were Here, I Love You. The extended version of Alice is also on here. So yeah, Goodbye Lullaby, definitely an amazing album from Avril Lavigne and definitely underrated. So if you love Avril Lavigne's music and you don't really know this album all that well, then I would definitely check it out because it's a good album. So, Goodbye Lullaby definitely makes it here. Really good album here. Continuing on is going to be Lasers by Lupe Fiasco. Lupe Fiasco is definitely an underrated rapper. This album had the song The Show Goes On. I think Beeman was like only like a bonus track for a bonus track version of the album, but that was another good one. But yeah, those are like the only two song names I remember right now by heart. But yeah, Lasers by Lupe Fiasco was still definitely a good album from 2011, so it's going to make the list. Next is going to be F.A.M.E. by Chris Brown. This, I would say, was probably Chris Brown's last good album, because after that, he started to try to rap and shit, and it just didn't work. But yeah, I would say F.A.M.E. is Chris Brown's last good album, if you ask me, because he was still singing on this album and didn't try to rap and shit. So yeah, you got a lot of good songs off of this album. You got Deuces with Tyga and Kevin McCall on this album. No Bullshit was also on this album. Yeah, 3 Times was a good one. Beautiful People. So yeah, FAME definitely had a lot of good songs on it. So this album makes the list. Good stuff here from Chris Brown. His last good album, in my opinion. Continuing on with the list is going to be Femme Fatale by Britney Spears. Now, I don't think this is one of Britney's best albums, but it does have some good songs, though, like Hold It Against Me. And I also liked the closing track, Criminal. That was a very great song, and I think it's kind of an underrated song from Britney Spears. You also had Until the World Ends, or Till the World Ends, whatever that song was called. That was on this album as well. I Wanna Go was a good song from this album. So, yeah, it was a decent album. It had some good stuff. So, for that, I'll still include it on the list. So, continuing on is Documentary by Snoop Dogg. The song Wet was on this album, which some people would say is one of his worst songs, but I actually don't mind the song, because I think it's pretty cool. Good song. He tried something different with it. So yeah, I think it was a good song. Boom with T-Pain was also on this album. Those are the only 2 song names that I know, and 2 songs that I know from this album, if I'm being honest. However, though, I still want to include it on here. Continuing on with this list is going to be Rolling Papers by Wiz Khalifa. This was a really good album from Wiz Khalifa. You had a lot of good songs like Black and Yellow, On My Level featuring rapper Too Short. Roll Up was also on this album. I think the other song on this album was called No Sleep. That was a good song. So yeah, Rolling Papers was definitely a good album from Wiz Khalifa. It is one of his best albums. Good stuff there from Wiz Khalifa. One of the best rap albums of 2011. Continuing on with the list is going to be American Tragedy by Hollywood Undead. This is actually my number 1 and favorite Hollywood Undead album. I think it's their best album that they ever made. You had a lot of good songs on this album. So, yeah, this album was definitely really, really good. And, like I'm saying, it's my number 1 Hollywood Undead album. Such a great album from them. Even if you're not really into this band, I still think you would appreciate this album because it's a really good one. You have a lot of good songs on it, like Been to Hell, Apologize, I Don't Want to Die was a good one. Of course, their song Hear Me Now, which is one of my all-time favorites from them in general. That was a really good song. Lights Out was definitely an awesome song. Bullet was definitely a good song, but it's definitely an underrated song for them, and I think it's a sad song as well because it's like a suicide type of song. Levitate was a decent song on this album. Poor Me was a good one. So, yeah. This album definitely had a lot of good songs on it. So, yeah. Hollywood Undead and their album American Tragedy, just really amazing album in general. So, yeah. Definitely my favorite from these guys. Continuing on with the list is going to be Love by Jennifer Lopez. Don't hate me, guys, for having this on here because I like some of J-Lo's music. But if you don't, I respect your opinion, of course. Because I respect opinions, unlike some people on this fucking platform. But we're not going to get into that. But, yeah. It had some good songs on it, like On the Floor featuring Pitbull was a good song. I'm Into You featuring Lil Wayne was good. Poppy was also on this album. So yeah, those are like the only 3 songs that I know from this album, but it was still a pretty good album from Jennifer Lopez. So continuing on with the list is me Born This Way by Lady Gaga. This was actually a really good album from Lady Gaga. You had a lot of good songs on it, like the album's title track. Married at Night was a good song. Judas was a good one. Bloody Mary was a good one. Heavy Metal Lover, that's a really dope song. Very underrated. You and I was a good song from this album. An Edge of Glory, that was a good song as well. So, yeah, definitely a good album here from Lady Gaga. It's not my number one Lady Gaga album, but it still is a very good album from Lady Gaga. So, for that, I have to put it on here because it's definitely a good album from her. So, continuing on with the list is going to be Hell the Sequel by Bad Meets Evil. This was the rap duo of Royce da 5'9" and Eminem. I know this is not a studio album, it's an EP, but I'm still going to include it on here because it had some good songs like Fast Lane. Of course, Lighters with Bruno Mars was really good. So, yeah, those are like the only 2 songs I'm more familiar with on this album, especially Lighters. I remember hearing that back in the day on the radio and all that. But, yeah, definitely some good stuff here, though, from Bad Meets Evil. So, continuing on with this list is going to be Planet Pit by Pitbull. I know this is one of Pitbull's pop rap albums, and I'm not really a big fan of his pop rap stuff, but I still thought it had some bangers on it, like Give Me Everything featuring Neo, Afrojack, and Nayer was a good song. Of course, Rain Over Me with Mark Anthony. That might be my favorite song off this album. That was a really good song between those 2. Hey Baby Drop It to the Floor featuring T-Pain was really good. International Love with Chris Brown was a great song from Planet Pit by Pitbull. So, yeah, you definitely had your great songs off this album by Pitbull. So, continuing on with the list is going to be When the Sun Goes Down by Selena Gomez and The Scene. This is actually my favorite album from Selena Gomez and The Scene. I think their other 2 albums, Kiss and Tell and A Year Without Rain, were good albums, but this is my number 1 album from them. He had a lot of amazing songs, like Love You Like a Love Song, Who Says, which is one of my favorite Selena Gomez songs in general, just an amazing song. The song Hit the Lights was really good. The title track of the album was great. My Dilemma was a good song. Outlaw, definitely a good one. Middle of Nowhere, I love Middle of Nowhere. That's a very underrated song. Just an amazing song. So, yeah. When the Sun Goes Down by Selena Gomez and The Scene, definitely amazing. I really, really love that album. It's just one of my favorite pop albums of the 2010s decade in general. So, yeah, definitely amazing. So, continuing on with the list, guys, it's going to be 4 by Beyonce. This is her 4th solo album. And I think this was Beyonce's last good album. I know some of her fans may see this video and get triggered by that, but I don't care. It's my opinion. But yeah, I think this was Beyonce's last good album because nowadays she tries to be a rapper and she's not a rapper. She's a singer, for fuck's sake. So I don't get why she tries to rap in her music nowadays. She's been doing that for like the last decade and it's just annoying. So yeah, but you had some good songs on this album from Beyonce, like Party with Andre 3000 from the rap duo Outkast. That was a great song. And then you had the song Run the World Girls, which I think is an alright song. I'm not the biggest fan of that song, but I just think it's a decent song. And then you had the deluxe edition with some good songs like Dance for You. I love Dance for You. It's actually my favorite song from this era of Beyonce. Even though it's only a deluxe track, it's my favorite song from Beyonce's 4 era. So continuing on with the list is going to be Finally Famous by Big Sean. Now, I don't really know much about Big Sean's music, but I do know some songs off of this album. Like the song Dance Ass was on this album, which the song can be cringy, but the song does have a good beat, but some of the lyrics are kind of cringeworthy, but I still thought it was an alright song for what it is. And then you had My Last with Chris Brown. That was like the first song I ever heard from Big Sean back in the day, like the early 2010s. But yeah, My Last was a good song. And then I think you had like the Dance Ass remix with Nicki Minaj, which was like probably a bonus track or something. So yeah, that's like the only stuff I know from this album. from Big Sean. But yeah, good stuff though. Big Sean is a good rapper. So continuing on with the list, guys, it's gonna be Gold Cobra by Limp Bizkit. I think this is a underrated album from Limp Bizkit. It actually had some good songs on it, like the title track Gold Cobra was really good. That was a great song from this album. Douchebag is actually my favorite song on the album. I think it's a badass song. You can just dedicate it to the assholes in the world. So yeah, definitely an awesome song. So those are like the only two songs that I'm more familiar with. I know it's not really much, again, to only include an album like this if I only know like two songs off of it, but it is what it is. Still gonna put it on here since I do like Limp Bizkit. Continuing on with the list, guys, is gonna be Red River Blue by Blake Shelton. This is a really great country album of that year. Had a lot of good songs like Honeybee, God Gave Me You. The album's title track was really great. That was a duet with his ex-wife Marina Lambert. Ready to Roll was a good song as well. Drink on It was a good one. Of course, the song I'm Sorry with Martine McBride. She done like background vocals on the song. That was a good song. Sunny in Seattle was great. Over was definitely a really good song. So yeah, Red River Blue, I would say it's one of Blake Shelton's best albums that he's ever put out. So continuing on with the list, guys, is going to be Neon by country singer Chris Young. This was another great album and country music that year. He had a lot of good songs on it, like I Could Take It From There. Of course, his song Tomorrow, which was a really great song. One of my favorite Chris Young songs in general. The album's title track was really good. It was definitely a more underrated single from the album because it wasn't much of a big hit, but it was still a really good song from that album. And then the song You was really good. So, yeah. Neon by Chris Young, definitely a good one. Continuing on with the list, guys, is Time of My Life by rock band Three Doors Down. I think this album doesn't get much attention compared to their older albums, like their 2000 stuff, for instance. But yeah, you had a lot of good songs off this album, like the album's title track, Time of My Life, When You're Young, Heaven, I love this song. This is actually my favorite song off of this album in general. Just definitely an underrated song, man. I wish more people would give this song and album more love, because I think it's a good album from Three Doors Down. So, yeah, definitely lots of good songs on it, but those are probably just a few songs that I remember by heart. So, yeah, continuing on with the list and finishing off this particular list is going to be Proud to Be Here by country singer Trace Adkins. Now, I thought this was a good album from Trace Adkins. You had some good songs on it, like Just Fishin' was an amazing song. That was a great song on the album. $1 Million View, which was another single along with Just Fishin', but $1 Million View was definitely an underrated song. It wasn't a big hit for Trace Adkins, but I think it's a good one. It's a really good and catchy song. It has like this great production and just great guitar work and beat and all that. So yeah, this is definitely a good album from Trace Adkins. And then you had the song If I Was a Woman, which was only like a deluxe edition bonus track, but however, that was a good song. Silly song name, but yeah, still a good song. So yeah, guys, that's gonna wrap up this part of best albums of 2011. I'm sorry if I didn't get to say much about some of these albums. It's just that some of these albums I don't know many songs off of, but for that reason, I hope the video was still good and hope you guys enjoyed it. So yeah, guys, part 2, as I mentioned earlier on in the video, will be made and put together and uploaded at another time. So hope you guys will understand that. It's just 2011 had so many good albums, too much for one video, if I'm being quite fair. But hope you guys get what I mean and understand why it's going to be a 2-part video. So yeah, guys, God bless you guys. I'm the Flamehead97. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.